everyone, and welcome to my channel. My name is Sarah, and today I'll be talking about 21 books to read in 2021. I was inspired to make this video after watching a few other people's lists of 21 books they want to read in 2021. So just letting you guys know, my list is probably not super original, and you probably heard of most of the books on this already, because honestly, these books have been on my TBR for a while now, and most of them I physically own a copy of, and I just haven't gotten around to reading them yet. So I wanted to make this video to talk about the books that I want to definitely for sure read in 2021, but they are definitely not the only books I want to read. If you want to see what other books I'm reading, you can go follow my Goodreads account. The link will be in the description, and I would definitely love to follow you back on there and see what you're recommending and what you're reading. So yeah, the first book on my list is none other than Clockwork Princess by Cassandra Clare. Now, I know, this is a pretty old book, and it's pretty basic for anyone who's a fan of YA fantasy, and you're probably like, Sarah, why haven't you read this already? Honestly, I don't have a clear answer to that. I am so confused as why I did not read this earlier, because it is so good. Now, I am a huge Cassandra Clare stan. I will forever be a stan of the Mortal Instruments series. The Mortal Instruments is like my world. It means so much to me. That series did so much for me in terms of, you know, creating the person who I am today and getting me into more books. So I have a great appreciation for that series, no matter what anyone says about it. And I kind of had hesitations reading the Infernal Devices trilogy, but I just finished reading Clockwork Angel, and I'm now onto Clockwork Prince, and I'm absolutely in love with the characters. Will and Tessa have my heart. Jem is just the cutest thing ever. And honestly, the last few chapters of Clockwork Angel destroyed me. I won't spoil anything if you haven't read it, but all I will say is Thomas. And if you understand that reference, then you probably understand. But Thomas, wow, did I cry. Yup, I cried. This is the finale to the Infernal Devices trilogy, and I can't wait to see how Cassie ends this. And yeah. So the next book on my list is none other than Serpent and Dove by Shelby Mahurin. I really hope I said that right. Sorry if I didn't. But yeah, I've had this book since like early December, and I've been waiting to read this, but I'm super excited to. I've heard so many like mixed reviews on it though. But a lot of people say if you like the enemies to lovers trope, you will love this. And let me just say, that is probably one of my favorite tropes. I love a good enemies to lovers, and I can't wait to read this. It's gonna be like my intermission in between my Cassie Clare books. So yeah, I am excited to pick up a new fantasy. So going along with Serpent and Dove, the third book on my list is Blood and Honey, again by Shelby Mahurin. I am super excited to read this too. Just look how pretty that book is. That cover, so pretty. Now I just wish I had Serpent and Dove in a hardcover, but you know what, it's okay. Maybe I'll buy the hardcover just so I have the complete collection, but it's fine. I'm kind of crazy when it comes to like hardcovers because I love to display them. I think they're so pretty. I know nothing about this book, other than it's the sequel to Serpent and Dove, and I know very little about Serpent and Dove 2, which I kind of like going into the book, not really knowing much about it, so I will get back to you on how I like Serpent and Dove, and then we'll get into Blood and Honey. Moving on, the fourth book on my list is Percy Jackson by Rick Riordan, and probably a lot of you guys are screaming at me right now saying, how could you have not read this book already? I know, I'm actually already kind of into it. Not really that far, just a couple chapters, but I am going to be doing a readathon of these books with one of my friends, so I am excited. And I also wanted to read them because of the Percy Jackson TV show that's going to be coming out on Disney Plus in the near future. So you know what, I was like, it's a classic, I just have to read it so I know, and I really wanted, you know, a light middle grade read, and this is perfect for that. And of course, following up Percy Jackson, the fifth book on my list is none other than Percy Jackson, The Sea of Monsters, again by Rick Riordan. So I don't really know much about the series, other than I watched the 2 movies, and you know what? I didn't hate the first movie. I didn't like the second movie, but you know what? The first movie kind of holds some nostalgia in my heart, and I know if I probably had read the series before the movies came out, I would feel differently, but I also really like Logan Lerman, so that might be a reason why the first movie holds so much nostalgia in my heart and why I kind of, you know, didn't hate it. The 6th book on my list is Percy Jackson, The Titan's Curse. I am definitely gonna binge this series, so this is on my list. The 7th book on my list, you guessed it, Percy Jackson, The Battle of the Labyrinth. Again, I know nothing about these books, so I can't wait to binge them. And to finish off the series, my 8th book is, of course, Percy Jackson, The Last Olympian. So I actually do have the box set of these books. I got it off of Amazon. It was on such a good sale, and that's why I honestly picked it up and decided that I was gonna read it this year. And yeah, the only book missing from that is The Lightning Thief, because I'm currently reading that. Moving on from Percy Jackson, the 9th book on my list is Lady Midnight by Cassandra Clare. Again, I'm very late to the game. This is the first book in the Dark Artifices trilogy, and I have been wanting to read this for years. I just got the box set for myself for Christmas, actually. The hardcover box set, mainly because it was on such a good sale and I knew that I was gonna want to buy them eventually, so I just, you know, bought them. The only thing I know about Lady Midnight is that it's a follow-up to The Mortal Instruments City of Heavenly Fire, and it follows Emma Carstairs and Julian Blackthorne. And that's literally all I know about this. But I've heard nothing but amazing reviews about this trilogy, and everyone says that, honestly, that they think that this is the superior series, but I will see for myself when I read them. Following that up for book number 10 on my list would be none other than Lord of Shadows by, again, Cassandra Clare. These books are so gorgeous. That's all I have to say. And again, I don't know anything about this book other than that it's the follow-up from Lady Midnight, and I actually prefer going into most of my books with an open mind and with not a lot of background knowledge to them. I just am able to, you know, enjoy the books better without having an expectation of what I'm going to get out of it. So this is number 10. And to finish off the Dark Artifices trilogy, the 11th book on my list is Queen of Air and Darkness by Cassandra Clare. This is such a stunning book. And it's massive. I cannot wait until I get to this book. I know I have a long way to go, but honestly, I am so excited. This is just stunning. Moving on, the 12th book on my list is The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. I don't actually physically have a copy of this book right now. It is literally coming in the mail, but I ordered all 3 books on Indigo, and I can't wait to read them. All my friends that have read them give it nothing but good reviews. And I read the sample that Goodreads provides, and I just love it so far, and I literally have read like 3 chapters, so I can't wait to get into that. And of course, that would make my 13th book, The Wicked King, again by Holly Black. One of my friends literally raved about this book, so I cannot wait to read it. And the 14th book on my list, and the last book in the Folk of the Air trilogy, is actually one I have in my hand, The Queen of Nothing by Holly Black. I know, you might be thinking, you have the 3rd book and you don't have the first 2. I ordered all 3 at the same time, and this book literally came in a week with me ordering it. I don't know, Indigo literally ships things at a bunch of different dates, so I just can't wait to start this series. Moving on to the 15th book on my list, Chain of Gold, another Cassandra Clare book. I know, you can probably see a trend here. I love Cassandra Clare, like I said. She is definitely my favorite author, and this is the first book in the Last Hours series. I picked this up in the summer when bookstores were still open, and it's the hardcover collector's first edition. I really don't know what's collector about it other than the fact that it has some beautiful artwork on the front, but I'm not sure if every copy has that artwork or not. But yeah, and when I saw it at the bookstore, I was like, yes, I'm buying this. So the only thing I know about this book is that it's a sequel to the Infernal Devices trilogy, and that's about it. I cannot wait to read this, especially after I read the Infernal Devices. And you might be thinking, why don't I just go straight into this after the Infernal Devices? I want to take a break, but then I also want to read Cassie's books in the order of publication date, just in case there's like any spoilers, even though this takes place before the Dark Artifices and there probably won't be any spoilers. I just want to read it in the order of publication. So I'm going to read those 3 first, and then I will get to Chain of Gold. So the 16th book on my list is actually one that hasn't come out yet, and yep, you guessed it, it's Chain of Iron by Cassandra Clare. So this book is set to come out on March 2nd, 2021, so very, very soon. I can't wait. As soon as it comes out, I am definitely buying it. I am so excited to read this book after I read Chain of Gold. Anything that Cassie writes is just phenomenal and I always love it. Book number 17 on my list is a part of another series, and it is Keeper of the Lost Cities by Shannon Messenger. I'm pretty sure it's Messenger. I've heard some people say Messenger, but I don't know what's correct. I've actually had the first 3 books in the series for a while now. They were actually given to me, and at the time I read up to chapter 17. I literally still have like a little bookmark in it from when I last read it, but that was years ago and I will have to revisit them. So the reason I want to go back to the series is because I actually heard that Ben Affleck is set to direct the Keeper of the Lost Cities movies, and I thought that's super exciting, and you know what, I want to give it another try. I was kind of young when I read them and not so into fantasy as I am now, and it's another middle grade book, and I think middle grade books are good to go to every once in a while, so I will definitely rereading this again and giving you my thoughts on it. The 18th book on my list is The Keeper of the Lost Cities, Exile. So yes, as I told you, I have the first 3 books, so I'm going to give this a read. And the 19th book on my list to finish up The Keeper of the Lost Cities would be The Keeper of the Lost Cities, Everblaze. And if I enjoy the first 3, I will definitely be picking up the rest in the series and continuing on to read them, so yeah. We're almost done. I know this has been a long one, but the 20th book on my list is The Red Scrolls of Magic by Cassandra Clare and Wesley Chu. So this is like a side series that takes place during the Mortal Instruments. I'm not sure in what part of it. I think it's either the 3rd or 4th book when this is supposed to be taking place. But this follows Alec and Magnus when they were like vacationing, I believe. I'm super excited to read this. I absolutely adore Alec and Magnus's relationship, so I can't wait to read this. The series is called The Eldest Curses, and this is the first book. And finally, at number 21, I have The Lost Book of the White, the second book in the Eldest Curses series by Cassandra Clare and Wesley Chu. Again, since this is a follow-up to the first book in the series, I really don't know anything about it, other than it is about Alec and Magnus, and I can't wait to give it a read. Again, I picked this book up when the bookstores weren't closed down, and it was actually on sale for like $20, and I was like, what? It's a hardcover. We love. And with that, I am done my list. So thank you if you stuck around this far. I hope you enjoyed the 21 books I will be reading in 2021. Again, you can follow me on Goodreads if you want to see other books that I'm reading. It'll be in the description, as well as I have a book Instagram account. It's at _thepaperbackprincess, and I basically just post like aesthetic book photos, so you can follow that if you want as well. And if you enjoyed this and want to see more book related videos from me, just let me know in the comments. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.